Hi, I'm Rosh from Energy Matters. Welcome to our podcast, Road to Zero, where we dive headfirst into all things renewable. Join us as we chat with industry experts, tech specialists, and some of your favorite TV and radio personalities, asking the renewable energy questions that you want answers to. Our goal, a zero carbon future. Today, I am thrilled to be joined by Thomas Bywater, Country Manager for AIKO. Thomas, how are you, mate?
G'day, Rosh. Good to see you again. Great to be a part of what Energy Matters is doing here with Road to Zero, the Energy Matters platform online and on broadcast. It's such a good thing that you're doing there to share this information to people who desperately need quality information on the topic.
Mate, I am absolutely touched. You almost brought tears to my eye, and thank you so much. I mean, look, it's an absolute pleasure working with AIKO and with yourself, Thomas. I mean, from the moment AIKO entered the market, and obviously we know Ross Crawford, your national manager, really well as well. It was just an absolute revelation, not just because of the energy that you guys have as a brand, but the quality of your product is absolutely phenomenal. And look, as we're going to be covering off, anyone who's watching and or listening to this right now, AIKO is featuring this Saturday on 9 Life at 4 p.m. It's going to be our first episode of Energy Matters. It's going to be an absolute cracker. And we're actually visiting China to see how these panels were actually manufactured. So, Thomas, before we get into that, because I'm super excited about this week's episode, and I know you are too, for anyone who doesn't know you that's watching or listening, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself, your career today, and what led to AIKO?
Yeah, thanks, Rosh. So I've been real privileged to be a part of this industry for near on a quarter of a century now. So spent about 20 years across the engineering, electrical side. So I'm an electrician, but I'm also trained in how to make solar panels. So that gives me a special enthusiasm about what we're doing in the Zhuhai factory that you went to see. And obviously, I see mums and dads as part of my day-to-day job as an installer in the past. And in doing that, such a good feeling to give them those savings, such a good feeling to see that clear skies over the last 20 years, across Sydney and Brisbane, you've seen that clearing up. But even as you go into the regions where there used to be a lot of coal power, just seeing that dialing back a little bit, you can feel the concrete change we're all making. Such a good thing to be a part of.
Look, it's so exciting. And I think, really, you just highlight something I want to ask you straight away. I mean, as an engineer, as someone who knows actually how the, mechanics, the engineering, the electrical engineering behind, how these panels are actually made and manufactured. I mean, what's been the most, the thing, I suppose, over the last 25 years, what have you seen in terms of involvement leading to what AIKO have just now released, which is just a ridiculously efficient and incredible panel that can operate even at low light or with impacts for shading? Tell us about that evolution.
Back in the dark days, we used to install the BP panels. They were 60 watts per panel. So these were going to telephones. So actually, from the first dawn of solar in Australia, what solar has been doing is bringing energy to the masses. So that first round of solar was going out to regional areas to operate their telephones, connect them to satellites and things like that, to democratize energy and information. And that hasn't changed that part. We're still doing that now. We're bringing down energy costs for homeowners so they can pay the same price as a big aluminium smelter. But essentially, it's a size difference, right? What used to be 60 watts per panel, now on a residential panel, we've got our beautiful Neostars, about 470, 475 watts there, even some at 510. And on the solar farms now, we're getting towards 800 per panel on some of those car park sort of panels. So we're looking to bring that to Australia. And the future is bright. We've made a lot of achievements and we've got more to get done.
It's absolutely incredible. And the evolution has been phenomenal. But really, looking at AIKO as a brand, you've really just hit the market like a sledgehammer. I mean, seeing you guys exhibiting, I think, a couple of years ago, and then just the little sort of test that you do live in front of everyone just to show, if there is a little bit of shading like across one panel, you're still, you just managed to, develop such, high level technology to allow the rest of the panel to not be affected and still perform, which fixes a huge gap, which is also the main reason we've got AIKO on our own roof at home, because we're an acreage, we're surrounded by over 200 trees. And, those trees like to grow. So fundamentally, as throughout the different seasons, there are going to be trees throwing down shade at different times on the panels. and they still perform incredibly well, which is absolutely excellent. I mean, if before we show the actual factory tour, I mean, what's led to this evolution with AIKO? I mean, how is it that you guys just seem to have a bit of an advantage almost in the way you're designing and rolling out your panel technology?
Yeah, so we are standing on the shoulders of giants, Rosh. So the universities were the first to prove out this partial shading management using special cell manufacturing technology. So we actually use lasers to produce those cells in a way we couldn't even 5 years ago. So we knew in theory that it could be done because of the boffins and the nerds in the universities that have proved that concept out. But finally, with the development of the lasers and robotics that we see in the Bay Area of China, we were able to get that precision manufacturing so we can put down little regions of silicon that help the solar cell to jump around shade that might be on the top of a cell. We can't get blood out of a stone, right? So if it's in the dead shade or in the nighttime or something, can't do anything about that. But where the proven benefits are is if there's some patchy shade, maybe a power line, something like that coming across the panel, it won't turn off the whole panel. It can keep operating in proportion to the light that's falling on the panel. So that's fantastic development. But what really encourages us, Rosh, is the safety benefits too. So this is the first time we've had a jump in technology where we not only get better performance, but we get better safety. So that's one thing that gives me some comfort, is that we can reduce some issues that may be found with older types of solar panels, and we can do better in hail. So that sort of layers to the cake story that we have at AIKO is what gets our customers out of bed in the morning, why our installers love to share that with homeowners, business owners, and the industry.
And look, it's not funny, to be fair, it wasn't funny at the time, but having just gone through the cyclone in the Gold Coast, and my panels were installed, a couple of weeks before that, I was thinking, I've got this beautiful, sleek, sophisticated black panels that almost look like art on 2 levels of my home, and then we just had a cyclone. So firstly, I was thinking, I rate Oswell Energy highly, and they're the guys who installed the solar panels for me.
Yeah.
So I knew that structurally it should be fine. But obviously, I had in the back of my mind, the Wizard of Oz moment where the roof's going to go flying into Oz, and it didn't. So, firstly, the panel survived really, really well. We did have some hail at a point as well, and I could just watch it out my window, watching the panels being smashed by torrential rain, a little bit of hail, as well as going through a cyclone, and they're absolutely spotless. I mean, literally spotless. So, I was very, very surprised. There was a bit of dirt immediately afterwards, and after another torrential rainstorm, they cleaned up absolutely perfectly, and they look like, once again, like the brand spanking new. So I am very, very impressed, Thomas. And as a customer, I can't say a bad word. They're absolutely amazing. Anyway, before I continue to waffle on, I just want to show the audience a very quick preview of this week's episode. We are visiting China. How do you pronounce it, Thomas? Zhuhai? Zhuhai? Zhuhai, which is just
means where the Pearl River meets the sea.
There you go. Look, a bit of knowledge there from Thomas. Thank you very much. And the place was absolutely spectacular. Here's a quick clip. When you look at solar panels in Australia, I think one of our biggest challenges is, electricity costs are going up all the time, our electricity consumption is going up all the time, and our roof space isn't that big.
Yeah.
So we want to fit as many solar panels on our roof as we possibly can do,
Yeah.
but we're restricted by the wattage of the actual panel themselves. So knowing that you guys do 475s means you can pack so much more punch into a very small area, which is amazing.
Yeah, it's actually our goal is for the limited space, we want to provide you the highest power output as we can. So that's the reason why we invited the highest efficiency power output modules. And I think the 470 and the 475 modules will be dominate Australian market. Awesome. So Thomas, it's very short clips, it doesn't do it justice, but that facility is unbelievable. I mean, my first moment walking in, it was stunning. It was like a museum. You've got the history of PV technology on the walls, the different sort of minerals and components being used to actually make
make the silicon and actually develop the panels in the first place. But then you've got alongside there, almost like Mona Lisa's hanging on the wall, just all your latest technology, and they're just visually stunning. So they actually look beautiful. Have you visited this facility yourself?
Yeah, so as you'd expect, Rosh, I take a really keen interest in how the panels are made and what the progress is on the new technology. So I try to get there once a quarter. So I've probably been to the factory now 4 or 5 times. And everyone who comes says the same thing as yourself. They're really impressed. They love that sort of walkthrough of where solar's been and where it's going. They like to be able to touch and feel those products. And they like to also see, like, how are the conditions for the workers? What's the technology going into it? See that cleanliness. Go through the anti-dust rooms and get treated like you're visiting a computer factory or something. It's a really good place for installers and engineers to visit and understand where we're coming from.
And I think, this is probably one of the key reasons why we were super excited to visit, the facility in China. I mean, there is a lot of, sort of fake news, if you like, around working conditions, around how people are treated, and really even down to how products are manufactured. And all I can say is, the facility is not only spotless, but it's just so next level in terms of its, robotics, state of the art. It's absolutely incredible. But really fundamentally, aside from the, how well maintained and how, I suppose how well invested the facility is, it really is it was so pleasing and just so lovely to see how happy the AIKO team are. I mean, they work really, really hard, but they are all working with a smile on their face. They're so enthusiastic, for what they're doing and, who they're doing it for. And, just really had that sense of like, this is a happy workplace environment that also is just full of robotics, state of the art, and obviously supports them. So they're able to do their job without having to carry pallets on their back and have potential injuries. The robotics are doing all the work for them, and they're just using their heads to, quality control, keep an eye on the process and just make sure everything is operating safely, but really efficiently as well. It was an absolute, it was amazing. Like, seriously, I'm almost lost for words when I talk about your facility, because it really was just incredible to watch and to film.
That's really good coming from you, Rosh, because I know your long experience in the industry and all the places that you've visited around the world. To hear you still be impressed, I think that's a credit to our team and a credit to that part of China where everything from your BYD cars to your iPhones and all that sort of thing are being assembled in that part of the world. And it's because of this positive attitude, but also because of that robotics expertise. And what the robotics does for you is it also gives you consistency. So it takes away back-breaking tasks, makes sure that the working conditions are optimal, but it also makes sure that the product's consistent. So alongside those robots you saw moving the panels, what you also have is a little robot that goes, was there a label on that panel? Let's have a look at the electrical performance of this panel. So all these little robotic analysis tasks are being done such that you get that good quality at the end of the day here in Australia on the rooftop.
And you're spot on when you talk about consistency, because it literally, that's effectively, what you're getting in terms of an end product is the same panel after panel after panel, because it's going through the same process, it's going through the same diligence. It was actually really interesting to watch, the actual team on the floor just doing on the spot, like, visual assessments and using scanners just to make sure there was actually no sort of defects on the panels, even before it then goes into packing. Because really, it's just such a detailed process. But really, it was almost so much pride as well. Like, even giving the panels a final polish and making sure they look beautiful before they're packaged up and sent off for distribution. Like, everyone was just so diligent and very proud of their task. Thomas, can you just talk to me very quickly about the sort of different technology and different panels that we saw being made and what we can find here in Australia?
Yeah, so here in Australia, there's probably 4 key categories of panels that we're working on. So for someone who's owning a beautiful home in the Gold Coast or around the Queensland coast there, like some of the areas we filmed, what you're looking for there is a full black panel. So if you're facing the street or maybe you've got a beautiful hill or valley or something, you would put our full black panels in there. So popular with wineries. So we call those the Neo Star 2 series. So 2 means second generation. and it's coming as a 455 watt, perfect for a beautiful home in the hinterland of the Gold Coast. If we're looking more to somewhere where maybe you can't see the panels, but you've got a space constraint, we go to the NeoStar 2P, and that P series is a slightly higher output, but it is white around the cells. Beautiful black frame, but white around the cells there. That will give you like a 470, 475 output. Beyond that, we actually have a lightweight panel coming soon, Rosh. So it's a bit of a secret. We can't really tell you right now all the details, but that panel is going to be great for, let's say, cool rooms, or maybe if you have a caravan or something where you need it to not be super heavy. So we've got a special front side material to make that. So we're always kicking goals on the technology front over here at AIKO, and that's just another way we're doing that. And then finally, we've got, of course, the panels for industry. So let's say you put it on your home. I believe you're going to have a great experience. We can also help you at your business, at the bowls club, at your community school, things like that. So we've got a beautiful range of Comet panels that go into there. So you didn't see the Comet series on your trip. You saw all of our smaller panels, like the NeoStars that go on the house. And what you maybe didn't see is the cafeteria there, Rosh. Did you happen to get a bite in our cafeteria?
No, I didn't. We had a beautiful meal, but it was hand delivered to us because we're so busy with production.
Right. But one of the real strengths of AIKO is actually the office workers eat with the factory workers. So if you were to go to our head office in Iwu or the factory you visited Zhuhai, we all eat in the same place. So you could be there eating with the factory worker on your left-hand side, CEO on your right-hand side. So I think that's something really interesting for people to take away. It's just a little bit different to that sort of corporate culture that you sometimes see in other large businesses. It's more of a sort of family feel when you're there, or if we were in New Zealand, an iwi feel. So we're really proud of those things, as well as the products we make, and it feeds into the products, right? The happy workers actually are committed, as you said, to making those products just that little bit better, and that's why they look so beautiful in Australian homes.
No, absolutely. And I think, it's the revelation for us to film there. It was consistent with what I thought was going to be the case, because obviously, as you know, as you highlighted, I mean, we're well researched. We understand exactly what's happening around the world in terms of the manufacturing of these products. So we kind of see it for what it is, and we don't really listen to the media or the fake news. But I think for anyone watching that maybe has been slightly biased towards what they've read and seen on media, will just really see what it really is, which is just like a very progressive, committed organization and country, but making some incredible technology that fundamentally is going to help the planet and help us achieve net zero and 100% renewable. And really, it's the factory tour just really, yes, it's probably one of the most state-of-the-art facilities I've ever seen. And at the same token, it was just representative of of what we expect a committed organization in this industry to be doing. So it was absolutely brilliant. One thing I did want to ask you, Thomas, because I did see there's some, and you obviously just alluded to something new that's coming out, which I know you've already told me it's a secret, so I'm not going to push you on it. But we did actually see your BIPV products as a demo there. I've heard a rumor that that's now been extended and you've created a solar car park as well. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah. So the solar car park is at the factory there for our team. So we work with car park providers here in Australia. So there's some beautiful manufacturers here in Australia that are working on that sort of thing as well. So what is actually happening at the factory is just a way to charge the electric cars of our staff. So the China of 30 years ago, everyone coming on bicycles or living at the factory or something is not necessarily still true now. Basically, you get a lot of our workers coming to work either by public transport or by electric vehicles. So what we've actually done is put a car park facility in there to help them charge their cars using that green energy. And of course, on the factory roof, we've got solar panels to charge our equipment. So we're able to run with clean energy through parts of our facility there. And we are working on storage now for the overnight part of our operations. So that's really...
AIKO storage, hey? I also heard that for here first too.
Well, all of that's down the track, of course, Rosh. But what I think is really important for people to take away who are listening right now is that we're doing this for the environment. We want to save money. When you put AIKO panels on your roof, you need less panels per system. So you're saving on glass. So that's a really key benefit. Anytime you use the AIKO product, you're going to have less resources going into the cell manufacturing. So it takes less energy to make our cells. We don't have that first silver furnace stage. So saves on gas, of course, saves on energy. So the embodied energy of our panels per panel is less, but each panel has more watts. So you can imagine you don't need as many trucks, you don't need as many ships. So it's a really key thing. So any of our partners that are installing AIKO, they get that, and they understand that at a minimum, you'll be saving 5% on your emissions just from transport of our products. And of course, you're saving materials, right? If you got less panels to do the same size of system, then you need less racks, you're going to need less drilling, all that sort of thing. So really key point to take away is we save you space, we save you time, but we also save the environment by using less materials.
Yeah, which is incredible. And it really is flying a flag for net zero and 100% renewable Australia, which is exactly what we're here for. And the emphasis of the TV show as well. You know, reduce your carbon footprint, and by doing so, save money on your energy bills. Thomas, thank you so much for joining us today. The episode's going to be an absolute barnstormer. 4 p.m. Saturday on 9 Life. Do not miss it. If you do miss it, don't worry. It's going to rerun on Sunday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and will also be on 9 now. And of course, it'll be on our website after a few days as well, so you can stream it and watch it from there. Thomas, thank you for your time, mate. It's always a pleasure chatting to you. Look forward to the next catch up.
Thanks, Rosh. Cheers. See you later.
Cheers, mate. Okay, guys. So there you go. So once again, if you are available at home, get a glass of your favorite drink, get some popcorn, and tune in on to 9 Life, 4 p.m. on Saturday. It's going to be a episode 1 of season 1 of Energy Matters. It's going to be an incredible show, and there's going to be some amazing technology being featured. If you have yet to go solar, fear not, you can still do it. And it's never been a better time. I say this every single time, but it literally is a better time every time. And you can jump onto our website, just have a play around, have a little search around to see what's on there. But obviously, you will see the promotion for the TV show. Click that link and you'll see AIKO. I would heavily recommend requesting a quote for AIKO solar panels on your home, especially if first time you've installed solar power, or like me, you live in an area where your facade of your home or your roof of your home is very visible, or you have lots and lots of trees and you're really concerned about shading, and you've been told in the past, I can't have solar panels because of shading. As Thomas really highlighted, of course, shading still affects panels and affects the part of the panel being shaded. But AIKO's technology is so advanced, you can literally get the benefit of the rest of that panel, even if part of it's being impacted by shade. So it's well worth exploring. Getting a quote will pay up with your local installers, and you can see for yourself that it's a great time to install. Other than that, enjoy the show. Have a fantastic rest of your week, and we'll see you next time.